Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Vineland High School All Sports Booster Club 30th Anniversary and Hall of Fame Banquet. My name is Don Robbins. I'm the Athletic Director here at Vineland High School. First, I'd like to introduce representing the Vineland Board of Education is Mr. John Sabrana, board member. He's going to be speaking on behalf of President English and the Vineland Board of Education. Mr. John Sabrana. John Sabrana, Vineland Board of Education member. Thanks, John.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of my colleagues on the Vineland Board of Education and also the Central Office Administrative Team, I just want to congratulate all of our athletes and their families. This is a wonderful event, and I'm proud to be here on their behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sabrana. As usual, the Central Office Administration is a huge supporter of Vineland High School athletics and all Vineland High School activities. I'd like to just take a moment for the Central Office Administration to stand and please enjoy a round of applause and thank you for attending. Mr. Fry, Andrew Connie. And speaking on behalf of Dr. Gruccio and the Vineland Central Office Administration is Dr. Joe Rossi, Executive Director of Personnel. Joe Rossi.
Thank you, Donnie. On behalf of the Central Administration, as John had said, it's a pleasure to be here and honor student athletes who have achieved so much. As educators, it's really what we're trying to do is encourage achievement. And as the commentator George Will said, sports lends to society the idea that there's vivid achievement. You can see it, and it's here in the awards and the clippings that Donnie's put together and his staff. So on behalf of Dr. Gruccio and Central Administration, hearty congratulations to the inductees and the coaches. You make all educators proud with your achievements. Thank you.
And of course, last but not least, the principal of Vineland High School, Dr. Thomas McCann.
Thank you, Mr. Robbins. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight on behalf of the Vineland High School Administration. All the administrators are very proud of what our teachers do as coaches and what our students do as a result of the coaching in the great high school that we have. I always like to also thank the All Sports Booster Club for putting this event on. It's something that's very prestigious, and it's a great way to showcase our great athletes. After 10 years, we get you in the Hall of Fame through the All Sports Booster Club. And I'd like to commend and congratulate our athletic director, Don Robbins, who is really the central character and the mechanism to make all this work. So a nice round of applause for Donnie, the athletic department. Have a great night and congratulations.
Thanks, Dr. McCann. The president of the Vineland High School All Sports Booster Club is Mrs. Debbie Anderson. She's also the treasurer, and she is soliciting help from anybody who is willing to help. Debbie Anderson.
Thank you, Don. Good evening. Speaking on behalf of the Booster Club, I would like to welcome all of you to our Vineland High School All Sports Booster Club Hall of Fame. Along with our athletic director, Don Robbins, the Booster Club is proud to hold this annual event. As most of you know, our club is comprised of energetic volunteer parents and friends, most whose children have graduated long ago, but still continue to support Vineland athletics. Along with the Booster Club members, I would like to recognize the Hall of Fame Committee for all of their hard work in choosing our inductees this evening. Would my fellow Booster Club members and the Hall of Fame members please stand to be recognized? Vineland sports history is so rich and meaningful to the Booster Club. Along with the current inductees to the Hall of Fame this evening, there's a number of previously inducted Hall of Famers attending this evening. We would like to thank each and every one of you for coming to our event to wish well our newest members of your illustrious group. The previous Hall of Famers, would you please stand to be recognized? Previous Hall of Famers. I would be remiss if I did not mention that my daughter-in-law Heather is a previous Hall of Famer, and she is being inducted this evening along with her swim team. An exact replica of your plaques as new inductees you're receiving this evening, as you know, are now permanent fixtures at our Wall of Fame in the Vineland High School South, alongside your plaques for all future generations of students to aspire to. As I said, Vineland sport history is deep, and there's no better place to see that than at the Wall of Fame in the Vineland High School. A headstone will be placed in the front walkway of the Vineland High School South for Mr. Robert Jones, along with the previously inducted posthumous Hall of Famers. Please take a moment to check out our beautiful displays that the inductees, as well as their families, have put on display for us in the front of the room. It's wonderful to see their sports life displayed in articles and photos. The Booster Club is proud to congratulate and thank all of the inductees here this evening, and we all are here to honor this amazing group of stellar athletes. As I leave you, I would like to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving, and again, thank you for supporting our 2015 Hall of Famers.
And ladies and gentlemen, before we enjoy our meal this evening, with our 30-year anniversary of the All Sports Booster Club, we'd like to bring up the first president of the Vineland High School All Sports Booster Club and Hall of Fame member, Mr. Herbert Skip Wright.
Thank you. I'd just like to give you a little history about how this group was formed. Back in '86, we got together and we decided to form what we now call the Vineland High School All Sports Booster Club. There was about 10 or 12 members, and we run the concession stands through the year to raise funds so we can have our annual banquet, honor our senior athletes. In the past, it was held in the cafeteria, spaghetti dinner, and not many people showed up, so we decided to step it up and go to Centerton Country Club. Well, around April and May, we found out there was going to be 103 inductees, of which we were going to get a plaque for, and provide them with a meal. The problem was we didn't have enough money. So we got our members to get together, and they went out in the community, and two of our members, Roger and Jane Pierce, came back with $900, and because of their efforts, we had our first banquet at the Centerton Country Club, and that tradition continues forever. The second year we got together and we decided, gee, we should have a Hall of Fame. We don't have a Hall of Fame at our high school. So we selected a small committee of 3 people. They nominated some names, brought it back to the membership, and we had our first Hall of Fame inductee, and I did that ceremony the first year. Our first inductee was a swimmer. Now some of you know Peter, Paul, Mary, the group. Well, Paul Stuckey, his definition of swimming was staying alive while you're in the water. This lady was alive in the water. She was a 7-time state champion individually and 3 times on the state championship relay team. Our first inductee was Lisa Iori. Lisa, would you please stand up? Our second inductee came from the wrestling match, Hank Mazzoni. Hank was also an outstanding football player. He was second in the state as a wrestling championship in his junior year. And his senior year, he became a wrestling champion, Vineland's second wrestling champion, and he was our second inductee in the Hall of Fame. Our posthumous award that year went to Angelo Architrento, who was an outstanding football player for Vineland High School. 1930 and 31, he was all South Jersey group champion as a running back. He went on to play football for Syracuse University. He won a couple events at the Penn Relays at track and field. So they were our first 3 inductees, and through the years we've continued, the group has continued, and honored inductees ever since. So I'm glad to see the tradition continue. I wish you all luck and congratulations to all this year's inductees, and thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. At this time, I'd like to introduce our Vineland High School head boys track coach and the voice of Vineland High School football, basketball, and wrestling, Mr. Elliot DeShields, to deliver this evening's invocation.
At this time, can we all please bow for the invocation? Dear Father in heaven, we just come at this time again, just thank you for bringing us to this moment in our life, Lord. We thank you for just blessing us with good life, health, and strength. We thank you for our family members who've just traveled from so far to come and just enjoy, just celebrate this evening, celebrating our fine athletes here at Vineland High School. We celebrate the rich tradition, Lord. We just thank you for the inductees tonight. Just thank you for all they did at Vineland High School to bring so many great memories. We thank you for the example that they're showing out in the community today, dearly Father, for our youth today, which is most important, Lord. Lord, we just ask that you again to just be here with us and just allow us to have a great time and just enjoy this evening, Lord. And at this time, we just ask you to please bless this food we're about to receive, dearly Father. May it be nourishing to our body. But we know it's going to be good because we're here at Eastland and Greenview Inn. But again, Lord, just thank you again for all your many rich blessings. Dearly Father, we pray in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Coach DeShields. A member of the Greenview Inn staff will be around to your table to let you know when it's time to approach the buffet, and we'll see you after dinner. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed or are enjoying your meal. At this time, we'd like to begin with our program of honoring our 5 inductees into the 2016 Vineland High School All Sports Booster Club Hall of Fame. Once again, my name is Don Robbins. I'm the athletic director here at the school. And just to give you a little background on the process for the Hall of Fame, Skip did a great job talking about the beginning of it. The Hall of Fame committee, which is comprised of 9 people, we get together in August and we discuss names that have been submitted to the committee. We review their history. I give each committee member a notebook, and a week before we meet, they go through the notebook and they decide, who their top 10 or 12 are, and then we meet and we narrow it down from there, and we vote a few times. This summer was interesting for me particularly because I am not a member of the committee, although I'm there as part of the meeting. And this summer of all summers, Dr. McCann, who you met earlier, is standing up. Don't sit down, Doc. Stand up just for a second. He decided that Vineland High School was going to put an air conditioner in this summer in Vineland High School South. Well, guess where Donnie Robbins had all the records for the Hall of Famers when it came time to start putting the plaques together, and Doc said, Donnie, you can't go over there. There's asbestos floating around and all these other things. So we worked out of the North Building for a while, and we were successfully able to get all of our material together. And the first inductee really was a problem for me. Really was interesting. The first inductee that we have tonight is John Andy Harp. And John, I'm going to ask you to stay seated just for a second. Typically what we do, ladies and gentlemen, is I'll read the inscription that's on the plaque that you already saw at the Hall of Fame. We give each inductee an exact replica of the plaque that is hanging on the wall in the high school. But Andy Harp was a very interesting guy. So Andy and I correspond via email, via telephone, and what I try to do is I take all the information that the committee puts together, and then they give it to me, and I always like to do it in the summer because I have a little bit more time, collate it, shuffle it around, put it in some kind of order, and then I'll email it or fax it or scan it to the inductee for their approval. So Andy and I went back and forth a few times with emails and faxes and stuff. So a lot of people knew John Andy Harp, and to be quite honest with you, I've heard about him over the years. This is my 10th year at Vineland High School. Heard about him as a track star, heard about him as having a career in the armed forces, but never really learned about the guy. So the information that I had was growing, you know, state champion, mile run, that kind of stuff. So I said, because I was misplaced, I was in the north building and all of my stuff is in the south building. One day I was talking to Greg Geraci, who's one of our coaches and a Hall of Famer, and he was with Gene Medio, and he says, look, Andy Harp's easy. He says, to get information on this guy, all you got to do is go Wikipedia, because he's the Wikipedia thing, you know, he's that big. So I go to the Vineland Library, and I said, where do you keep the Wikipedias? And they looked at me, and they said, Wikipedia is not that kind of thing. So I finally figured out what the Wikipedia thing was, and John Andy Harp is a Wikipedia guy. So before I introduce Mr. Harp, I'd just like to read his inscription to you, and then we'll bring John up and let him have his say. 1967, Vineland High School. As a sophomore, Group 4 mile run sectional champion. 1968, Group 4 mile run sectional champion. 68, Lenny Conover, 1 mile race champion. 68 and 69, Group 4 sectional cross country champion. 69, mile run sectional champion. 69 set the Vineland High School mile run record that still stands today, 4 minutes, 21 seconds flat. Coach DeShield still in the room? You take that? 1969, accepted athletic scholarship to American University, 4-year member of American University's track and cross country team. Selected Middle State Conference ICAA All-Star, competed NCAA Division National Championships in cross country. Nation including, check this one out. All right, this is one of the Wikipedia things. In cross country, running against the best distance runners in the nation, including the world record holder, Steve Prefontaine. Remember the guy from that movie? He ran against Steve Prefontaine. Andy finished first for the American University team that day and 19th in the nation. And he holds the American indoor track 800-meter, 800-yard time of 1 minute and 51 seconds. Set in 1973, and it still stands in 2016. Okay, so that's athletics. Here's where the Wikipedia thing kicks in. Andy, really, where are you, Andy? You got like 4 lives going on, man. I don't know how you did all this stuff, but so Andy joins the United States Marine Corps. Upon graduation, Andy was commissioned as second lieutenant in the United States Marine Corps Reserves. Andy served in the 11th Marines, 1st Marine Division from 1974 to 77, served in the United States both active and reserve duty, achieving the rank of colonel on August 1st, 1995. Colonel Harp was mobilized for Operation Enduring Freedom, where he led Marine forces in the Pacific Crisis Action Team during the invasion of Afghanistan. Selected for the United States Marine Corps All-American Track and Field Team, Colonel Harp has served in the United States in Germany, Korea, Qatar, Honduras. Colonel Harp has been awarded the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal, the Navy Marine Corps Commendation Medal, Southwest Asia Medal, and Office of the Secretary of Defense Badge. Colonel Harp recently served as the National President of the Marine Corps Reserves Officers Association. Colonel Harp is a recipient for a forgive me, Andy, non sebe padre, which is not for self but for country. It's an acronym, Lifetime Achievement Award. Ready? Then he decides to become a lawyer. I'm not making this stuff up. 1980, earned his JD degree from Walter F. George School of Law and Mercer University. Andy practices law at the law office of J. A. Harp, LLC in Columbus, Georgia. He's a published author of many works in the area of medical legal issues. In 2014, in his spare time, I guess, Andy earned his master's degree in fine arts in literary fiction from Queen's University. Andy published, and does publish, I believe, under the name of Anderson Harp, which, by the way, if you try to Wikipedia him, You got to look under Anderson Harp, right? Because that's just a trick. Is nationally and internationally known novelist, is a member of Mystery Writers of America. Andy is one of only 2 authors in the history of the USO that was invited to tour combat troops for Operation Thriller. Andy Harp is married to his wife Jane. Together they have 4 wonderful children. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Andy Harp. You know, I just thought of one thing. So, Bill, we're emailing back and forth, all to make sure the plaque is right. Because the worst thing I want to do is make a mistake on somebody's plaque. I'm looking through all the paperwork, and it says pilot. And I said, Andy, you're a licensed pilot? He goes, yeah, but don't put that on there. I mean,
It's because I almost
put that on the plaque.
Because I almost crashed 1 or 2 times.
Andy Harp, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'd like to thank Vineland High School. I'd like to thank the Vineland High School Booster Club, Don, Deborah, all of the supporters this evening. A special thank to my former teammates, Greg DeRacy and Mike, who were part of the phenomenal 1969 team. My family is here tonight. This is not a cheap date. I've got San Francisco here. I've got Georgia. I got mother of a grandchild paying for a babysitter in Georgia, and I've got Manhattan here, and my lovely wife, Jane, and my best childhood friend, Alana and Bill Du Bois, are here, who were Bridgeton folks, but we'll forgive you tonight for doing that. So it's really a special honor to be here. It really is. I was giving my kids a tour of Vineland today, and reminded so much how charming this town really is. And we went by the park where the Little League baseball field is, and I was telling them, I said, many years ago I played on that field. And I said, if you were a spectator sitting in the grandstand watching me play, you would probably guess that would be the very last person to be admitted into an athletic Hall of Fame. I said, Coach, can I pitch? And I had 3 pitches, and I hit the batters 3 times, and he retired me from my baseball career. But it was really special. I had the chance to start here with a phenomenal coach. I was Greg and Mike and I. We were probably the last of the Clarion Koch generation of runners, and he was a quiet, phenomenal man that could inspire you to do great things. And his record is just, it's placed well at Vineland High School. And then I was followed up by Bill Gaynor and Pete Fermanis. And then that gave me the opportunity to go to college on a track scholarship and really have a good time. I would say that in my travels around the world, and I've had a chance to go to some places a little bit remote, courtesy of the United States government, but some places, and also in talking with fellow Marines and other people in the service, I'm often asked the question, where are you from? And I thought about that, and I have a philosophy about that. And my philosophy about that in talking with people along those lines over the years is, it really means, where did you go to high school? Because that's how significant your high school experience is. And I have always said with great pride that I came from Vineland, New Jersey. So thank you very much.
So I was talking to Scott Jakubowski over the summer, same kind of story, and he says, whatever you do, don't put me after Andy. Scott Jakubowski, class of 2001. Soccer, diving, baseball. 1999 Cape Atlantic League diving champion. 2000 soccer, scored 28 goals, 10 assists. 2000 NJSIAA, third team All-State boys soccer. 2000 member of the Fighting Clan soccer team that reached the South Jersey Group 4 title division game, or title championship game. 2000 Cape Atlantic League diving champion again. 2000 Vineland Daily Journal Baseball All-Star. 2001 Cape Atlantic League diving champion again. 2001 fifth place in the NJSIAA diving meet of champions. 2001 Vineland Daily Journal Diver of the Year. 2001 in baseball, he hit .310 with 3 home runs, 17 RBIs, 16 runs scored, and 19 stolen bases. In 2001, he was the Vineland Daily Journal Baseball Player of the Year. In 2001, he was the Vineland Daily Journal Athlete of the Year. Scott Jakubowski went on to Lehigh University, where he eventually reached the Patriot League diving finals. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Jakubowski. You got 2 baseball guys up here. Something's got to get knocked over. You know?
Hi, everybody. I was going to take this time to talk about something pompous, like we need to start keeping score again, or I don't know, something else about participation trophies, but I'm just going to scrap all that because I have a chance tonight to thank 2 people who are the sole reason that I'm here tonight. And that's Richard Jakubowski and Susan Jakubowski. I got my athleticism from my dad. He has some Al Bundyan stories about playing football, which did top Al Bundy because he scored 5 touchdowns in one game. And I always liked hearing his stories. And because he was such a good athlete, he made sure that anything I wanted to try, he'd be there for me. And it was soccer for 20 years. It was baseball for a dozen. It was basketball for a few, but that didn't really. But that opened up a void, and he said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. He says, well, why don't you try diving? I said, okay, I'll try diving. And that got me to college. With regards to the diving, one more anecdote. He wanted me to be able to practice in the winter, so he talked to my mother. And almost overnight, there was a trampoline in the backyard. It had its pads, I promise. But that's the point I'm trying to make, is the sacrifices they made for me. My mom had to work a lot, but she was there for 3 big ones. She saw the Cape Atlantic Championship. She saw the home run against Millville in the playoffs, which felt really good, even 15 years later. Yeah. And she got to see the one I'm most proud of, and that's the Cape Atlantic League Scholar Athlete. I'm proud of that one. So I want to say thank you to Vineland for giving me a chance to play 3 sports. And for me to become part of this, this lovely Hall of Fame that you guys have put together. It really means a lot to me. And it's about 5 years too late. Sorry, guys. And for giving me a chance to say thank you to my parents. Thank you.
Tiffany Malatesta Jager, class of 2006. The plaque that you saw in the Hall of Fame reads like this: Vineland High School, Tiffany Malatesta Jager, class of 2006, four varsity letters in swimming. Vineland High School, 2003 Cape Atlantic League champion, 200-meter freestyle relay, 200-meter individual medley relay. 2003 state champion, 400-yard freestyle relay, 200-yard freestyle relay. 2003 member of the NJSIAA group state championship team that went 13-0. 2003 Press of Atlantic City, Vineland Daily Journal first team All-Star. 2003 All-American, 200-yard medley relay. 2004 Cape Atlantic League champion, 200 medley, 200 freestyle, 400 freestyle. 2004 state champion, 100 free, 200 medley, 200 freestyle, 400 freestyle. 2004 member of the NJSIAA Group 4 state championship team that went 15-0. 2004 Daily Journal, Courier Post, Star Ledger, Press of Atlantic City, first team All-Star. 2004 Daily Journal, Courier Post, New Jersey Star Ledger, Press of Atlantic City, Philadelphia Inquirer, Swimmer of the Year. 2004 All South Jersey in the 100 free, 200 free relay, 400 free relay. 2004 NISCA All-American. 2004 broke Vineland High School's 30-year-old record in 100-meter backstroke. 2005 United States of America record holder in the 200-meter freestyle relay. 2005 state champion, 200-yard medley relay. 200-yard freestyle relay, 400-yard freestyle relay. 2005 member of the state championship team that was 15-0. 2005 Cal champion medley relay, 200 freestyle relay, 400 freestyle relay. 2006 Daily Journal Swimmer of the Year. Tiff, I probably should have made copies of all these and handed them out to people. Very, very impressive. 2006 Cape Atlantic League champion, 200 medley relay, 200 medley freestyle relay, 400 freestyle relay. 2006 member of the 400-meter freestyle relay team that set the Cal record. 2006 state champion, 200-yard medley relay, 200-yard freestyle relay, 400-yard freestyle relay. 2006 South Jersey Interscholastic Swimming Association winner of the Bill Maskey, Bill Lyons, and Ray Hagel Scholar Athlete Awards. Member of Vineland High School's National Honor Society and the Italian Honor Society. DECA Gold medalist, Conference California. Tiffany won more state championships than any swimmer, including relays, in the history of Vineland High School, with 15 state championships. In 2006, Tiffany graduated summa cum laude, accepting an athletic scholarship to the University of Pittsburgh. While swimming at the University of Pittsburgh, she was a 4-year swimmer, named to the Big East All-Star team. Big East Conference 25, 100-yard backstroke, ECAC championships, second place in the 50 free, fifth place in the 100 backstroke with a time of 56.99, seventh place in the 100 free. 2010 University of Pittsburgh Athletic Directors Dean List. Named to the University of Pittsburgh's Dean List. 2010 University of Pittsburgh graduate. Bachelor of Arts in English, master's degree in special education. Tiffany's been the past swim coach at Buena Regional High School and is currently at Ocean Township High School. Tiffany has done countless hours of volunteer work, including Toys for Tots, Adopt the Road, Tiny Tim Caroling, shopping for the homeless shelters, volunteer swim lessons at the Sarah Hines House, Relay for Life, Special Olympics, Northeast Boston Terrier Rescue volunteer, SPCA, and she is currently a teacher of special education in Ocean County. Ladies and gentlemen, Tiffany Malatesta Jagger.
I got you.
Presenting for Tiffany tonight is her father, Mr. John Malatesta. Thank you, John.
Good evening, everyone. I would first like to thank the Vineland High School Sports Boosters Club and the Hall of Fame Committee for all the hard work and dedication that they put into this amazing event. Second, I want to congratulate all the 216 Hall of Fame inductees. And last but not least, I want to thank all the families and friends who have gathered here tonight to celebrate the best of the best. I probably had the toughest job of anyone in this room. Not only was I one of Tiffany Malatesta Jager's coaches, but I was also her dad. Now, let me tell you how it all began. It was the summer of 1995, when Tiffany was a mere 8 years old. I took this rambunctious little girl, who, by the way, used to get up every morning and put on her bathing suit, no matter what time of the year it was, much to her mom's dismay. She would get in her dad's truck and go to her Aunt Brenda's house, where she would always find Tiff doing endless circles in her aunt's backyard above-ground pool. Being a swim coach for the past 16 years, I recognized that there was something special about this kid, and not just because she was my daughter. So with that being said, the next logical step was to get Tiffany involved with a successful swim program. Hence, the introduction to Coach Casadia and the Dolphin swim team. So let's say, just say, her first practice wasn't what was expected. 25 meters and I'm out of here. Mom was at the other end. She got out, took off with her mom. Okay, now we got a little things that'll happen at home. Day 2 went something like this. At the time, my wife was pregnant with my son, Johnny. So basically, I'll take care of this. Next day, I was dragging her back to the pool. She was kicking and screaming. I'm not doubting that any bit. Please, don't make me. And day 3, the game changer. There was no looking back. Tiffany's experiences with the Dolphin and Coach Casadia were nothing less than accomplished. As a coach and a father, I saw the tenacity in her hard work ethic, the mental toughness, the self-motivation that all great athletes exude. As her training intensified, so did her confidence, and Tiffany's second-to-none attitude was a marvel to experience. Coach Casadia challenged Tiffany day in and day out to be the best she could be for her team and herself, and she did not disappoint. Period! Exclamation point. There were several great swims and meets over her 4 years, both individually and as a team. But one of the most memorable that I can experience along with Tiffany was the loss. Yes, I said loss. Up to this time, this group of seniors never lost a dual, playoff, or state championship meet. They were 55-0 going into this meet. To Cherry Hill West in the sectional semifinals at the Camden County Technical School. Tiffany swam in the 400 free relay. Tiffany exited the pool, put her head on my shoulder and said, "Dad, I gave it everything I had, but I couldn't get it done. I'm sorry." Wow. That was one of those profound character-building moments for Tiffany that was not pleasant. But for one of the first times in Tiffany's career, she found out that no matter how hard she tried, you can't do it all by yourself. Swimming, such as life, is a team sport. As for Tiffany, there was never an I in team throughout her swimming career. Following her high school collegiate success, as well as earning a degree in English and a master's in special ed, Tiffany returned home to work in her community. To conclude, it gives me the greatest pride and pleasure to be standing up here as her coach, but most importantly, as Tiffany's father, to share this journey with my daughter. I'd like to invite Tiffany Malatesta Jaeger to join me at the podium so I can present her with this most prestigious award. Hall of Fame, Vineland High School, 216, Tiffany Malatesta Jaeger. Go Clan. There you go, Tiff. Love you, baby.
When do you want this?
Go ahead.
I need the microphone. All right, good evening. It is a great pleasure to be here tonight and be inducted into Vineland High School's Hall of Fame. I cannot believe that it's been 10 years since I graduated VHS. Sorry, he's got me all choked up now. I would first like to thank Mrs. Anderson, Mrs. O'Brien, and the All Sports Booster Club members for this wonderful event. Thank you also to Superintendent Dr. Gruccio, Central Administrators, Dr. McCann, Don Robbins, and members of the Vineland Board of Education for always supporting Vineland High School athletics. Congratulations to all of the 2016 Hall of Fame inductees. It is an honor to be inducted with you all tonight. Most importantly, there is absolutely no way that I would be here tonight if it wasn't for my friends and family, who are also with me here tonight. Thank you to the Ganios, who always had jelly beans for states, balloons for sectionals, and making sure the timing system was always ready to go. Thank you to Danielle Sneelan for never missing a meet. All of my friends and family here tonight have supported me throughout my swimming career, and for that I thank you. I've been asked many times what it takes to become a Division I athlete. Well, last week I read an article about nagging parents. Nagging seems like a negative action, but it has actually been proven to raise successful daughters. As a teenager, I did not like to be nagged, but nagging is what brought me to my success in and out of the pool. My mother supported me in whatever I wanted to accomplish, but my father, on the other hand, good was not good enough. When you think good is enough, think again. I remember asking my dad what it would take to become a Division I swimmer. So he replied, break the 1 minute mark in the 100 backstroke. After I did, he then told me to break the 59-second mark in the 100 backstroke. So I did. My mom and dad encouraged me to create higher than the sky goals, and I was determined to accomplish them. They nagged me to go to practice. They nagged me about my 1B on my report card. They nagged me about summer weights and conditioning, and they nagged me about my curfew. Well, all the nagging worked. I was, and I'm extremely fortunate to have such caring parents. They instilled in me a drive for success and an accept nothing but the best attitude since I was a little girl. When I was 9 years old, I swam half a lap down the Dolphin Swim Club pool and ran out screaming for my mother. Coach Casadia saw potential in me and actually allowed me to return to practice the next day. Thank you, Coach Casadia, for believing in me and setting goals for myself that seemed extremely unreachable at the time. You showed me how to actually attain my goals, and I continue to surprise myself every day of my life. Division I swimming takes determination, commitment, and character. These 3 traits are not taught during your senior year in high school. They are taught way before high school even begins, from role models such as your parents, which I am so fortunate to have. Division I schools are looking for athletes that are well-rounded in and out of the pool. They are looking for leaders and hard workers, athletically and academically. I really credit my involvement with volunteering, National Honor Society, and keeping my GPA in high school as high as possible since day 1 freshman year. There were some hard times in college swimming where I wasn't 100% in the pool, but what kept me afloat was my GPA. I was an asset to the team athletically, but probably even more academically. The swim team had a reputation for having the top GPA in women's sports at the University of Pittsburgh. This is something that we took pride in. This pride started at VHS for me. Coach Casadia and my father looked at report cards every marking period and commended us on our hard work in the classroom. Thank you to my 2 coaches for teaching me what hard work was in and out of the pool. I will be forever grateful for this trait that you taught me. Becoming a Division I athlete also means staying humble and kind. VHS taught me always to shake my opponent's hand after a meet and congratulate my rivals. No one wants a rude or non-team player on their team. I learned to cheer my teammates on during practices, meets, and conditioning. Being reliable is something that Division I coaches look for. When they need a swimmer to be in the 200 backstroke, I was their girl. I was there for my team whenever they needed me. The majority of my state titles are from relay championships. For 4 years on the VHS swim team, I was the anchor for the 200 and freestyle relays. A relay is made up of 4 swimmers and the anchor swims last. Relays were my favorite event because my team was relying on me to finish the race strong. I will never forget swimming with Jessica Caddy, Tia Bassano, Stevie Anderson, Sabrina Warren, and Victoria Bonifield on these relays. We trained together, shaved our legs together, ate at pasta parties together, made ruckus signs together. And this is why we were so successful, because we did everything together. One of my favorite memories on the team was my freshman year at the Meet of Champions, racing Vineland High School in the 400 freestyle relay. People knew that Vineland was good that year, but they had no idea how high we set our goals for the Meet of Champions. It came down to the last swimmer, the anchor, me, to outswim Emily Bateman from Vineland High School. I knew I was ready and my relay was counting on me. I remember watching the race with Ted Daplin's commentary in the background. The race is close. It's going to be Malatesta, Bateman, Malatesta, Bateman, Malatesta for the win. Wow, we did it. We were state champions in 2 relays that year together. At the Meet of Champions, we always decided to give up an individual race to swim all 3 relays, and I would never have it any other way. This is what makes a sought-after recruit for Division I swimming, putting your team first rather than yourself. In order to become a Division I athlete, you first need to have an amazing support system of friends and family, determination way before the 9th grade, goals, reliability, and commitment. Also, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I personally emailed college coaches and showed my interest as soon as the NCAA allowed. Colleges do not want your parents to do your work. They want to see you take initiative for your future. After all is said and done, Division I swimming is not easy, but it's worth it. I met the love of my life at the University of Pittsburgh through athletics. My husband, Eric Jager, was a Division I soccer player at Pitt. We both have the drive for success, and we are each other's support systems. I have gained another family who is also present tonight. I owe so much to VHS Athletics for my success in and out of the pool, and thank you so much for this wonderful evening tonight. Have a great evening.
Every year, as Mr. Wright announced at the beginning of the banquet, we have a posthumous inductee into our Hall of Fame. This year's posthumous inductee is Robert F. Jones from the class of 1938. Had the pleasure of meeting Bob a few years back. Coach Geraci, Dr. McCann, and I went over to Gatone Stadium, and Bob was able to walk us through where the track used to be and how we used to throw the javelin. And there was an article in the newspaper about it, and I think it's up here on Bob's display board if you care to see it, but it was really a special day. Robert Jones, class of 1938, track and field and baseball. 1938 Vineland High School javelin record holder. 1938 Cumberland County javelin champion. 1938 Cumberland County javelin record holder. He played organized roller hockey. He attended Spring Garden Institute for 2 years. Robert joined the National Guard after high school and remained in the Guard until he joined the Marines in 1942 after Pearl Harbor. He spent time as a drill sergeant before being sent to the Pacific during World War II. He was a member of the Marines' famous 3rd Division, where he was wounded in Guam and was awarded the Purple Heart for his wounds in Iwo Jima. It was Iwo Jima the wounds that he suffered in Iwo Jima that disabled him for the rest of his life. But his disability did not deter Bob from still being a Marine. In all, Robert received 2 Purple Hearts while serving the United States of America overseas. Bob founded the Yellow Jackets Athletic Club. He was a 31-year commissioner for the Boy Scouts of America. He was a lifetime member of the Disabled American Veterans Organization, lifetime member of the United States Veterans of Foreign Wars, the VFW, lifetime member of the United States Marine Corps League, founding member of the Vineland Detachment Marine Corps League. Robert served as commandant for the state of New Jersey and Vineland United States Marine Corps League for 31 years at the state of New Jersey Memorial Home for Disabled Soldiers, reaching the rank of assistant superintendent. Robert also owned a stock car that raced from the 1950s into the 1970s. Robert passed away on December 16th, 2014, and he was laid to rest on July 8th, 2015 in the United States Arlington National Cemetery. Receiving this award tonight on behalf of Robert Jones is his son, Mr. Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, Gary Jones.
Please bear with me. First and foremost, I have to thank, again tonight, Coach Clarion Kosh. Coach Kosh was more than just a gym teacher and track and field coach for my dad. He was a mentor. He took an athletically gifted teenager, showed him what track and field was, and my dad just took over from there. He kind of forgot football, he kind of didn't care much about baseball. All he wanted to do was to field events and throw that javelin. And there's no way I would be standing here tonight if it wasn't for Coach Kosh. Personally, I'd like to thank Coach DiTomo, Tony DiTomo. We all know what the nicknames we used to call him. And I was one of those, mainly because he would always nag me and harass me and tell me how I came from these fabulous athletic genes, and I should be doing all this stuff in sports. You see, Coach DiTomo played with and against my father back in the 30s. And he would tell me stories about, how he didn't like losing to my father, and he enjoyed beating my father, various sporting events. And he played that trump card with me to try to get me to go out for the wrestling team, which never was going to happen. But without Coach DiTomo enlightening me as to who the man was who was living with my mother and my brother in our house, it would have been years later before I really discovered who my dad was in his younger days. Because through high school, my dad was just a tall, good-looking guy that everybody liked, who limped because he had a bad leg and had a hard time getting in and out of a car. Treated us great. He starts telling me that my dad's some athletic phenom. I'm thinking, Coach, who are you talking about? Because my dad was a very private man. He would always answer all your questions and help you, but volunteering information was not very prevalent. So Coach DiTomo enlightened me, enabled me to ask the right questions, and enabled me to spend probably through the 1980s, don't forget I'm a 1967 graduate. So I was probably into the 80s when I finally understood who the hell my father was. And I will forever be grateful for that. I have to thank Tom McCann, Don Robbins, Dave Homiak for the respect and compassion they showed my father and myself during those last couple of years, for honoring him when he died. I will forever be grateful for you guys, always. Greg Geraci. Greg was a couple years behind me in school. Can you hear me when I'm not talking this? Greg was a couple years behind me in school, and frankly, I didn't know him. I was a golfer. Greg was throwing the javelin. My dad may have known who he was, but I didn't. And he really wasn't a friend. He was just, as you guys know, you have kids in school that you're acquainted with, but they're not really friends. So when my dad was donating his javelin to the high school, which he had wanted to do before he died, was a beautiful little ceremony. Greg was there. And Greg, that ceremony was 5 or 10 times better than it would have been, and it would have been great because you were there. I also have to thank Greg for all the work I know he probably did behind the scenes so that I could stand here tonight on behalf of my father. And I also have to thank Greg for traveling down, wasting a day to be at my dad's funeral in Arlington. Nobody in their wildest dreams would have expected the turnout of the people who, they know who they were, the people who were there. But most of all, my dad was in the veterans home the last couple of years of his life. And towards the last year, he was walking around on a walker. Greg, several times, many times, would come and visit my father, talk with my father, share track stories with my father, probably even knows stuff about the war that I don't even know, and enriched my father's life so much that when I would go in after the fact and say, hey, Dad, let's go to the cafeteria and have lunch today, my dad had a quicker step with his walker because he told me, guess what? Greg came to see me yesterday. My dad was uplifted in the last part of his life because of these other gentlemen I mentioned, but because of Greg Geraci. And Greg, because of that, someday I may forgive you for breaking my dad's javelin record. The boosters. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the boosters. Thank you so much. You have to know that my dad did a lot of things. He was proud of a lot of what he did. But standing here right now, knowing my dad, if you piled all my dad's accomplishments that he was most proud of, on the top of that pile would be this. My dad loved Vineland High School. My dad bled Vineland High School. My dad read the sports page every day to find out what was going on at Vineland High School. My dad knew that Greg Geraci had the javelin record before he even met Greg Geraci, because he read it in the paper. My dad followed Greg's career and wasn't as pissed off as I was that the record got broken. If he was here right now, he would be telling you that that thing caps off his life. And I am forever grateful for the boosters. The gentleman I spoke about, I'll forever be in your debt. And as far as you other honorees, and Andy, I noticed, I didn't meet you before. Track and field, Marines. My dad would have been glued to your table and loving to talk with you. Hoorah. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. Now that I'm talking. All you other honorees today, I'm going to tell you, first of all, congratulations. Well deserved. But this honor gets better 10 years from now, gets better 20 years from now, and 40 years from now, that honor is going to be better. Trust me. Thank you. Thank you, Don.
The 1995-1996 girls swimming and diving team, NJSIAA Group A state champions. They were the first ever female state championship team in the history of Vineland High School, finishing the season with a record of 13-1. Speaking on behalf of the team is their head coach, Mr. John Kasabian.
Thank you. First, permit me to thank the VHS Booster Club membership for selecting our 1996 Girls State Championship team for induction into the VHS Hall of Fame, along with our other inductees, Tiffany, Scott, Mr. Jones, and Andy Harper. Special thanks has to go out to Debbie Anderson and, of course, Nancy O'Brien for all that they have done to make this evening special and memorable. We also like to thank VHS Athletic Director Donnie Robbins, Building Grounds Supervisor Wayne Weaver, and VHS Principal Dr. McCann, who are responsible for the beautiful Hall of Fame hallway located in the South Building that many of you saw this evening. This hallway is awe-inspiring, affording our students on a daily basis the opportunity to stop, look, glance, and maybe read a little bit about some of the great athletes who grace the hallways of Vineland High School. Truly awe-inspiring. I'd like to thank my coaches, Dave O'Donnell, who I coached from the age 5 through high school. Came back and helped us coach this team. He is a member of several championship relays. Virginia Egbert was our diving coach, who couldn't make it here tonight. She led our divers, who at the time were very, very important parts of the swim program. We'd like to thank Virginia. Peg Bedford. Peg Bedford. When I think of Peg and our team, I think of a second mother, because that's exactly what she was to every girl on our team. She was the person our girls turned to when they needed help to get through a problem, whether it be a workout, problem with their boyfriend, kill those little guys, classes, or their parents. She was always our go-to person. Rest in peace, Peg. And of course, we need to thank our parents. Without our parents, we would not have had this team. Many of them are here this evening, and we thank you for coming. Representing, in some cases, their daughter, who had moved away, but they're here tonight, as always, supporting not just our team, but Vineland High School swimming and diving, and Vineland High School athletics. Thank you, parents. The goal of every high school athlete, deep inside themselves, maybe they don't echo it to too many people, is to be a state champ. The goal of every high school team is to win a state championship. Team state championship. VHS Swimming has been blessed with many talented athletes. Many have won many MOCs, Meet of Champions. Lisa Iori was mentioned earlier. The only swimmer as a high school student to represent the United States at the Olympic trials. 1980, we didn't go to the Olympics, we boycotted. Other standouts who received MOC, Meet of Champions, Heather Dehana, Tommy Forrest, Angel Prado, who was an exchange student, and Bobby Daplin. And close to 100 swimmers have been on state championship relays. That is just a remarkable achievement. In 2016 marks the 20th anniversary that this 96 girls swim team proved the impossible is possible, winning the first team title in the history of Vineland High School in any sport. Wow. Great. Awesome. Really seemed quite inadequate to describe such a historic achievement. How exactly did this accomplishment occur? You only need to read many of the notes and letters of swimmers that I received after they received word that they were going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. It revealed the secret. It revealed the same secret that they echoed 20 years ago. It's a very, very powerful word. 2 letters. We. All their comments echoed the the same thing. We worked hard. We supported each other. We did the killer weight sets. We did 4-hour practices. We believed in each other. And when they won, it was we won. See what we did. There was never a mention of who won what event or who scored the most points. I and doubt were not in their vocabulary. They put in way too much sweat, tears, hypoxic training sets to let this opportunity slip past them. What this team didn't realize, however, was the effect their win would have on future generations of VHS swimmers and divers. You see, there were many, many future swimmers in the balcony of that championship meet that were inspired. One of those future swimmers was a little girl whose dad brought her to the meet. That experience burned in her mind and in her heart exactly what she wanted to do when she got to high school. I want to be a VHS swimmer. That little 8-year-old girl kept her commitment, and when she got to high school, she swam, and swam she did. And she was on not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 state championship teams. That little girl was Carly Daplin. And she was not alone. The way to this championship wasn't easy. Anything worthwhile isn't easy. The team lost to Cherry Hill East 116-96 at home, 107-79. That's 28 points. In swimming, that's pretty close to an A-whipping. Big margin. And we knew that if we intended to move forward in the championship in a little over a month, we'd have to go through East. The question was, how were we going to make up 28 points in a month? We weren't going to make up any points. I figured we lost the East by a mere 3.7 seconds. So we were going to make up 3.7 seconds. That became their battle cry, 3.7 seconds. And each girl took it upon herself to do her job. The fire was lit. Bring on East. The sectional clash was held at Vineland High School again, the largest crowd at that time to ever attend a championship meet. Suffice to say, this meet was a nail-biter. The VHS girls didn't wear their name caps because we wanted to get every psychological advantage we could. And we were going to mix up our lineup and put people in events they had never swam competitively that season. That's the confidence we had in them. It was a fast meet. East beat us in the first event, nearly breaking the national record in the medley relay. Someone they had never seen in the 50 free, Heather DeHana, was swimming the 2 and the 4 or the 5 all year long. We took her out, told her she had to swim the 50. And boy, did she swim it. Breaking the national record, first time she ever swam the event. That's confidence. Leanne Caddy came up big. She came in third in the medley, in the individual medley against East the first round. She crushed them. Came within a second of breaking the national record. And it's on and on and on. Our 2 free relay broke the national record. Heather swam the 100, first time that year, came within a whisker of establishing a national record, crushed them. In the first meet, East went 1-2. For swimming people, that's 10-6. That's a nice 4 points. The best they could manage the second time around was a 1-3 finish, 7-9. VHS not only made up 3.7 seconds that night, but they added another 10 on top of it. The score, 88-82 Vineland. And the VHS girls were now headed for the state finals. Robin Daplin, the AD at the time, pulled the girls out of school the day of the meet. Took them to Brewster Villa, got them all lunch. There were strings attached. As we got on the bus, he poked his head in and said, "Bring home a state title." And our girls did that, defeating Westfield. The amazing thing about this team is 2 days later was a meet of champions. For the first time in the history of Vineland of NJSIA meet of champions, the Vineland High School team of Leanne Caddy, Jamie McFarley, Heather DeHana, and Madeline Luma won all 3 relays. 2 days after a hotly contested meet with Westfield. That is truly amazing. I am certainly proud to be their coach, to have been their coach, and would like to share with you what really makes them special. Yes, they are special for winning a state title, first in the history of Vineland. But in the summer of 1995, our seniors, summer, we're not training, well, we were training, but not officially training with the high school. That was legal. Some things were legal, most weren't. Under the direction of our seniors, Megan Binger, Christina Demento, Lisa Petrosky, Leslie Bedford, and Madeline Lumen, and Jamie Maffali, they planned and organized a benefit barbecue in the summer of '95 to raise money for one of their teammates, Mark DePalma, who is battling cancer. 800 people attended the benefit at Dolphin Swim Club and generated $12,000 for the DePalma family. This truly shows how great this team really is. They cared about each other and they cared about others. I'd like to, at this time, Don.
Coach, if you could stand in the front.
Pardon me?
If you could stand in front.
Okay, I got you.
This time we'd like to honor the 1995-1996 girls swimming state champions. Presenting the plaques.
Leanne Caddy's representing the team. She has a few words to say.
Okay. Coach just told me a secret. And I guess I'm supposed to tell everybody the secret after Leanne Caddy's going to come up and say a few words on behalf of the team. Hi, Leanne.
Hi. Thank you. I'm more nervous today than I was swimming for that state championship. First, I would like all the girls to come up here with me. All the girls, state champions, come up here. I'm not doing this by myself. Thank you. You got everybody? Okay. It is a tremendous honor to accept this award on behalf of the 1996 VHS Girls Swimming and Diving Team. We would like to thank the VHS Booster Club and the Hall of Fame Committee for their decision to induct us for this great honor. I would especially like to thank our coach, John Casadia, for this nomination. Besides coaching majority of us.
Just for a second.
Yeah.
Just move it back. The plaques are underneath here, and I got to get under there.
Oh, do you want? Okay. I'll go right in front. I'll go in front.
There you go. Get out of here. Get out of here, will you?
So, John Casadia for this nomination. Besides coaching majority of us from the time we were 8 and unders to getting us to this state championship level, he has taught us the meaning of hard work, commitment, and dedication. In looking back on our 1996 season, Cherry Hill East was our biggest rivals, to say the least. They were studs. They were big and bad, and I think I can remember an eyebrow ring or two mixed in. Oh yeah. We knew they were the only thing that came between us and winning the state championship. During our first dual meet meeting, East beat us by almost 30 points. We got knocked down but not out. We brushed off our shoulders and we continued to work hard day in and day out. We came back to the tournament to meet them again. This time we just knew we were going to win, and we did just that. It took each and every one of us, along with each and every point. We were a special team, and we shared a special bond. For many of us, we were more than just team, we still are family. We wanted to win for our team and for our coaches, who put in countless hours, morning, noon, and night. The season taught us a lot. We've all had many obstacles in our life, and being part of the state championship team has given us a preparation to never give up. If you work hard enough, and if you're committed enough, you will be able to achieve the impossible. I think I can speak for our entire team. Being part of the Vineland High School swimming and diving program has had a significant influence and has helped shape us into the women we are today. In this phase of our life, we are called on every day to use those life lessons that were an integral part of VHS swimming and diving. It has helped us create a foundation for what type of person we will become for the rest of your life, being on a sports team such as VHS. It was a privilege to swim with these remarkable ladies, and we accomplished so much as a team. Our team set the standard of excellence for all future girls' sports at VHS. I cannot dream of a better group of women to accompany me up on this stage, and we graciously accept this award. Thank you.
Take a picture with everybody holding on.
Coach, yours. Everybody get one, guys? Coach, yours. Everybody have one? No. Who's missing? Good? Oh, yeah. Coach, yours. Anybody else? Good? Perfect. Yep. Hey, Coach, Casadia. John Casadia. There you go.
Leslie, I guess.
Yep. I got plenty. There you go. I got plenty of them. I got plenty. Does everybody have one? I just want to make sure. Everybody have one? Coach Casadia.
did it, Coach. Thank you. Yeah.
Big round of applause for the 1995-1996 swim team.
How many more you need? Just one?
Thank you.
I got one for every kid on the team. There's still like 15 back here.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we depart for the evening, I'd like to remind everybody that this Thursday, we're going to play a football game over at Gatone Stadium that you're all invited to come to. It should be an interesting morning. Also, on behalf of Dr. McCann and Vineland High School and Vineland Public Schools, we'd like to thank Gia Missouri and her crew for all the hard work they do. Rick Caldell and the students from the Life Skills Printing Room for making our programs. Have a great Thanksgiving, have a great evening, and we'll see you at the game on Thursday. Thank you for attending.